For you see, said the illustrated man, these illustrations predict the future. I said nothing. It's all right in sunlight, he went on. I could keep a carnival day job, but at night, the pictures move. The pictures change. I must have smiled. How long have you been illustrated? In 1900, when I was 20 years old and working a carnival, I broke my leg. They laid me up. I had to do something to keep my hand in, so I decided to get tattooed. But who tattooed you? What happened to the artist? She went back to the future, he said. I mean it. She was an old woman in a little house in the middle of Wisconsin here somewhere, not far from this place. A little old witch who looked 1,000 years old one moment and 20 years old the next. But she said she could travel in time. I laughed. Now, I know better. How did you happen to meet her? He told me. He had seen her painted sign by the road. Skin illustration, exclamation point. Illustration instead of tattoo. Artistic. So he had sat all night while her magic needles stung him wasp stings and delicate bee stings. By morning, he looked like a man who had fallen into a 20-color print press and been squeezed out all bright and picturesque. I've hunted every summer for 50 years, he said, putting his hands out in the air. When I find that witch, I'm going to kill her. Page 5. The sun was gone. Now the first stars were shining and the moon had brightened the fields of grass and wheat. Still, the illustrated man's pictures glowed like charcoals in the half-light, like scattered rubies and emeralds with Rouault colors and Picasso colors in the long pressed out El Greco bodies. So people fire me when my pictures move. They don't like it when violent things happen in my illustrations. Each illustration is a little story. If you watch them, in a few minutes, they'll tell you a tale. In 3 hours of looking, you could see 18 or 20 stories acted right on my body. You could hear voices and think thoughts. It's all here, just waiting for you to look. But most of all, there's a special spot on my body. He bared his back. See, there's no special design on my right shoulder blade, just a jumble. Yes? When I've been around a person long enough, that spot clouds over and fills in. If I'm with a woman, her picture comes around my back in an hour and shows her whole life, how she'll live, how she'll die, what she'll look like when she's 60. And if it's a man, an hour later, his picture's here on my back. It shows him falling off a cliff or dying under a train. So I'm fired again. All the time he had been talking, his hands had wandered over the illustrations as if to adjust their frames, to brush away dust, the motions of a connoisseur and art patron. Now he lay back long and full in the moonlight. It was a warm night, there was no breeze, and the air was stifling. We both had our shirts off. And you've never found that old woman? Never. And you think she came from the future? How else could she know these stories she painted on me? He shut his eyes tiredly. His voice grew fainter. Sometimes, at night, I can feel them. The pictures, like ants crawling on my skin. Then I know they're doing what they have to do. I never look at them anymore. I just try to rest. I don't sleep much. Don't you look at them either. I warn you. Turn the other way when you sleep. I lay back a few feet from him. He didn't seem violent, and the pictures were beautiful. Otherwise, I might have been tempted to get out and away from such babbling. But the illustrations, I let my eyes fill up on them. Any person would go a little mad with such things upon his body. The night was serene. I could hear the illustrated man's breathing in the moonlight. Crickets were stirring gently in the distant ravines. I lay with my body sideways so I could watch the illustrations. Perhaps half an hour passed. Whether the illustrated man slept, I could not tell. But suddenly, I heard him whisper, "They're moving, aren't they?" I waited a minute. Then I said, "Yes." The pictures were moving, each in its turn, each for a brief minute or two. There in the moonlight, with the tiny tinkling thoughts and the distant sea voices, it seemed each little drama was enacted. Whether it took an hour or 3 hours for the dramas to finish would be hard to say. I only know that I lay fascinated and did not move while the stars wheeled in the sky. 18 illustrations, 18 tales. I counted them one by one. Primarily, my eyes focused upon a scene, a large house with 2 people in it. I saw a flight of vultures on a blazing flesh sky. I saw yellow lions and I heard voices. The first illustration quivered and came to life. ... So get ready to hear about the first illustration coming up soon. Thank you guys for joining me for just the prologue. We haven't even gotten into the stories yet. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and follow along with the images of the pages that I've uploaded. If you miss anything, you can pause at any time and go back and hear what you missed. Thanks for listening.